Hello, Syngap Land. My name is Michael Graglia. This is episode 146 of Syngap 10, the Syngap1 podcast. Today is Saturday, July 27th, and as you might notice, it's a little dark. It's because it's 5 a.m. Why is it 5 a.m.? Well, I fell asleep reading to Tony, and I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. Let me go get to work. And I've been trying to do this podcast for days. It's almost ridiculous. Why am I doing this at 5 a.m.? Well, I'm about to get on. When the family wakes up, we're going to put everyone in the car. Hope we didn't forget anything. Head to the airport and go to Adams Camp. If you don't know what Adams Camp is, go ahead and listen to episode 110, which I did about a year ago, which tells you things are slowing down a bit on the episode production because that was 36 episodes ago. But you know, as life has gotten, and SRF has gotten more complicated over the past year, these episodes have become farther apart, and that's okay. That's just the nature of our work. We used to have like 5 things going on, so I could just sit down and whip out a Syngap 10. Now we've got so much going on, I actually have to sit and plan and write these show notes and think about everything that's happening and think about what I want to tell you guys and what I shouldn't tell you guys yet, and and really sequence the messaging. So it is what it is. But Adams Camp is an amazing camp for special needs kids. They are equipped to handle any kind of Syngapian, believe it or not. And if you're like, gosh, I really want to take my kid to summer camp, and you can get yourselves to Colorado, check out my pod on Adams Camp, episode 110. I'm really excited to be going back in a couple hours. Also want to shout out to 2 things before I jump into this episode. Ed Gabler is just amazing. He continues to crank out beautiful newsletters, syngap.fund/NL39 for newsletter 39. Ed has done an incredible job. Please check that out. It's very well done. Also, Cafe Syngap 16, our Spanish language podcast is out. Cafe Syngap episode 16, our Spanish language podcast is out. Really, really good work. Thank you so much, Marlena, for doing that. All right, so what's the big news in today's episode? Well, there's really 2 things I want to highlight. The Zempleni Grant and, 3 things. The Zempleni Grant, Children's Colorado, Project ACE, and the conference. Sorry, it's 5 a.m. I'm a little slow. I'm going to keep drinking this coffee as fast as I can. So the Zempleni Grant. We put out this press release where we announced that we have continued to support Professor Zempleni. So if you remember, a while back, we gave Professor Zempleni a grant to work on exosomes, and everyone was like, that sounds really cool. I have no idea what an exosome is, but good job. And Professor Zempleni gave a really, really good talk at our conference last year and explained what an exosome is and explained its potential for being a really effective drug delivery mechanism. So what we did is we gave him a second grant to refine that and potentially move it to the point where it could be used to deliver drugs. Remember, all of these precision therapies, so separate out, and actually at the bottom of the newsletter, Ed included a video of me where I spontaneously got up last year at the family day and I explained the difference between small molecules and precision therapy. So that's a good video to watch. It's in the newsletter, syngap.fund/NL39 at the bottom. Now, let's talk about Zempleni. There are broadly speaking, two kinds of medicines we're going to give kids. We're going to give kids small molecules, which are existing drugs, right? These are drugs we put into the system and hopefully they help our kids' symptoms and maybe even they increase Syngap. But there's systemic drugs. They just hit the body, and we look forward to seeing what they do. There's also precision therapies. These are therapies which we are designing to get into the brain and make the brain do what it's not doing in our patients, which is make enough Syngap. And there's 2 parts to that. There's the genetic machinery that actually makes the brain make more Syngap. And there's a lot of people who have written papers on this, and there's different approaches, and this is happening. If you look at our pipeline on our website, that's what you'll see. Just go to our website, search pipeline. But getting those precision therapies to the brain is not a trivial exercise. And the delivery is actually increasingly more complicated than the actual making the gene do its work. Delivery to enough of the brain. And what we're seeing and what we're learning with Professor Zempleni is that these exosomes could be a really powerful delivery mechanism. So we're thrilled to continue supporting him. This is a very senior professor who's done tremendous work. And if anyone's going to pull this off, he is. So thank you very much to our donors for making this grant possible. Thank you to Professor Zempleni for working on Syngap. And honestly, guys, you know, if this technology is right, the delivery will work for many different diseases. But what we're doing by investing in Professor Zempleni now is we're giving him a lot of data to show it works in Syngap, so that Syngap will be a logical first step for him to start proving his technology with. Really exciting work, and I'm very proud of SRF for supporting this. Now I want to talk about Project ACE Natural History Study at Children's Colorado. Mike, what is Project ACE? I've never heard about this before. Well, if you've been part of the SRF team, you know that we've been humming and hawing about what to call all of our clinical trial work, right? You've heard me say many times, we've invested in the science for 5 or 6 years now, and now it's really time for the clinic. We have to get ready for clinical trials. We have to improve the way our kids are cared for. We have to get a prospective natural history study to satisfy the FDA so we can design a clinical trial. And what do we call all that clinical stuff? And I'm just going to start calling it ACE. I've asked a lot of people for a better name. I haven't found a better name. You could make like a 37-letter word that captures all the things, but it's too complicated. ACE stands for Accelerating Clinical Excellence. Accelerating Clinical Excellence. That's what we want. We want our kids to get excellent clinical care. Some of our kids get that. Some of our kids don't, frankly, and the stories are scary. We have a kid who came to my attention this week, who was in the hospital 4 days, frantic text messages and Slack messages, and all the whole SRF team communicating. Who should they be seeing? How can we help them? Where are they? Which hospital? Blah, 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 blah. All these things. It shouldn't be that hard to get a Syngapian quality clinical care, but it is, frankly. And there's precious few doctors who know how to spell Syngap1. There is not consensus on how to care for our kids. Our kids are very complicated, and our kids are not consistent in how they show up in the clinic. We need to improve the way our kids are cared for. We need to accelerate towards clinical excellence. My idea? Put draft on this one. Maybe we'll change it. I don't think, but I like it, so maybe we won't. I don't know. Project ACE is accelerating clinical excellence. And within Project ACE, we're going to do natural history study, we're going to do biomarkers, and we're going to do consensus and other stuff. The clay is wet here, right? But understand that when I say Project ACE, primarily we're talking about understanding how our kids show up in the clinic and improving the way they are cared for. Every single family should be able to get behind this. The natural history study, remember, natural history studies can be retrospective, looking back, or prospective, looking forward. Retrospective natural history study, sign up for Citizen, right? Prospective natural history study, let's get a kid into the clinic every 6 to 12 months. Ideally every 6, but 12 is fine if you can only make it annually. And let's see how they progress. Let's study these kids and let's go to the FDA and say, we know what Syngap looks like, so that when we give a kid a drug, we're going to be able to show you what better looks like. At the highest level, that is part of it. There's other things we're going to do. We're going to do severity scores. Anyway, Project ACE, natural history study. Prospective natural history study. Okay, so natural history study, NHS. Prospective natural history study, PNHS. Multisite prospective natural history study. Ooh! So we started a natural history study a year ago at CHOP. Incredible work at CHOP. They've seen, 80 or more patients. I'm already scheduled to go back. People are going back for their second, some even their third visits. CHOP will see you once a year, but they'd really like to see you every 6 months. So keep that in mind. Now, as you know, we recently gave a grant to Children's Hospital of Colorado so that they can start seeing patients. This is exceptionally exciting news. And Dr. Abbott from Children's, there are a lot of questions that came up, and Dr. Abbott from Colorado Children's and Dr. McKee from CHOP gave a joint webinar, links in the show notes, webinar 91, where they talk about what it's going to be like to go to CHOC, CHOC, Children's Hospital of Colorado. And please watch that. I'll give you the big 5 takeaways. Colorado is seeing less patients than CHOP, but they will be seeing more if interest rises. Why do I start with this? Because if there's any chance of you going to Children's Hospital of Colorado, call them now, sign up. They need a list of patients, because what happens is Dr. Abbott goes to Dr. Demarest, goes to Dr. Banky, goes to the administration. There's a whole food chain everywhere, all these food chains, and says, we have all these patients dying to get in, give us more space. The issue, right, is the space in the clinic. Who gets that room on Thursday mornings? Like that's the struggle right now, guys. So if you're willing to go to Children's Colorado and participate in this, maybe CHOP was too far, flying to the East Coast, maybe you're on the West Coast, call CHOC and say, guys, I want to be seen. I want to be in the Syngap Natural History Study. Get on that list. So right now they're seeing less patients than CHOP. CHOP is seeing patients every week. CHOC, Colorado, is seeing patients every month. For reference, Stanford is also seeing patients, but every quarter, right? So weekly CHOP, Philadelphia, monthly CHOC, Colorado, quarterly Stanford, California. And this is a partnership between Colorado and CHOP, and then Stanford has also signed an umbrella IRB. And what that means is you can go to any of these sites. The data will be shared, right? The data will be shared. These are not separate natural history study. This is a multi-site, prospective natural history study. One study, multiple sites. Very exciting and would not be possible without SRF. We have done a ton of work to make this happen. I mean, CHOP and the grant at CHOP is the anchor here, but we are working like crazy and raising money to scale this across multiple sites. Thank you to our donors. This model has worked before. It has worked with CDKL5 and STXBP1, which are major diseases. So we're not doing something new here, guys. We are just executing a plan that has worked for others. Now, this is a difference, I will say, between CHOC and CHOP. The CHOC visit is split over 2 days, and this visit will include behavioral support and multi-psych. This multidisciplinary clinic is really well established and well executed. What does this mean? Okay, so I should be saying multi-site, multidisciplinary, prospective, digital natural history study. What does multidisciplinary mean? It means you're going to see a neurologist, it means you're going to see a physical therapist, it means you're going to see a speech therapist, it means you're going to see a neuropsych, it means you're going to see a behaviorist. You're going to see all the things in one visit. And most of us do not see all those people in 1 or 2 days. Most of us see those people over a year. And then as soon as we're done, we have those people telling us to go back and see the other people. And they're all like, oh, and no one knows all the drugs going into this kid. Here's the point, guys. If you want better medicines for our kids, you will take part in a natural history study to complete the data. But that's kind of abstract. Let's be honest. You're like, I need help now. And that's why this natural history study is so exciting, right? When you go and participate in this, you spend a day seeing all these different doctors who've seen a lot of Syngapians. And the quality of the care and what you learn when you go to CHOP Philadelphia, CHOC Colorado, Stanford, California is so much better than just running around to local doctors and explaining SYNGAP to them, and it doesn't work. So please seriously consider going to Philadelphia, Colorado, or Stanford and checking it out. And I will say that the CHOC Multidisciplinary Clinic is something they have done before for STX and CDKL5, and they do it really well. Like, this is a pretty well-oiled machine over there, and the ability to see all these different specialists who specialize in rare diseases and monogenic neurodevelopmental disorders is pretty special. So if you're anywhere near Colorado, get on there. Lauren Perry, who you know is the glue of SRF, the operations manager, is in Denver, Colorado, and therefore logically manages the CHOC relationship. If you have any questions about Colorado, you want help signing up, whatever, email Lauren at curesyngap1.org. And just a moment to say, Lauren is just about as exceptional as they come. If you deal with her and you have not said thank you for all of her tireless work for SRF and by extension for all of your kids, make sure you say thank you to Lauren. She's just amazing. Speaking of which, I'm flying to Colorado today, and I'm going to have dinner with Lauren and some Colorado families tonight. I'm really excited about that. Anyway, all of this takes work, guys. The CHOC grant was $450,000. So please take part in our fundraisers. As a reminder, Scramble for SYNGAP in South Carolina is in 70 days. The SRF Gala in Jersey is in 83 days. That's October 5th and October 18th, respectively. Links are in the show notes. If you're anywhere nearby, please go to those events. Please help raise money. Please invite people. We need to raise funds for this work. The need for Project ACE and other things we're doing only grows, guys. And the more we fund, the more money we raise, the more work we fund. The more work we fund, the more options we have to improve the future for our kids. On that point, you don't have to go to South Carolina or Jersey. You can also do things online. The MsMdProNHS account, anchored by a grant by the Nordholm family, is up to $21,534. Thank you very much to the donors who supported that. And Emmy's fundraiser, newly diagnosed family, Anthony and Chelsea Navarro, said, hey, our little girl Emmy is sick and we want to raise some money. And they launched a fundraiser, and that fundraiser is at $5,799. Guys, that's how we do it. That's how we do it. Every family, if you're newly diagnosed and you're watching this, your next move is to call SRF, get signed up, and launch a fundraiser. Tell your family, tell your friends, bring everyone in. You need the world to understand what SYNGAP is. Your Syngapian needs the world to understand what SYNGAP is, because if they don't, guess what? They will not be met with open arms in all cases. Please launch a fundraiser. And then the big boy, the conference is coming. 131 days away. 131 days sounds like a lot of time, but it's not. It's 4 months. That's enough time to buy a plane ticket, book your hotel, check out all the amazing things to do in LA in December, and get over to LA. It's going to be an exceptional conference, and we have a room block. That means you can book a room at the hotel. I think it's $180 a night. Great job, Stacy, on negotiating an awesome, Stacy and Laura at SLC6A1. We're working with SLC6A1 and GABA A, by the way. So we're going to have our conference at the Omni in LA, but right next door in the same hotel, SLC's having a conference, and next door is GABA A's having a conference. And we're all working together behind the scenes to make this conference work. And the tile for this episode is our conference sponsorship tile. I want to sincerely thank the people who are funding this conference. CERM, Longboard, Transcripta, Simons, Illumina, Camp4, Bial, Praxis, Stoke, Acadia, Tevard. These are all companies that have given money to support our work and this conference. And without corporate sponsorship, guys, these conferences would not happen. They are incredibly expensive, right? It's just going to be an amazing event. So please, December 5th and 6th, come to LA, get a hotel room, stay with us. Please resist the temptation to Airbnb. We got a nice big room block in this hotel. It's downtown LA. Stay in the hotel. Stay with us. We've planned the dinner on Friday night, which is just across the street. The reception on Thursday night is in the hotel. Everything's in the hotel. Stay in the hotel. $185 a night. Please come, join us, take part in the conference. The other thing I want to remind people of is we are doing a combined brain blood drive. Right, so this blood goes into a biobank where the blood and the plasma is stored, and we use this for research on SYNGAP. As we speak, samples are being flown around to labs, and people are looking for biomarkers. I've explained what biomarkers are before. If you are coming to the conference, we will be doing a blood draw at the conference for SYNGAPians and family members. So if you're coming to the conference, you're like, check, I've done that. But if you live in Kansas City, Atlanta, Seattle, or Philadelphia, there are collection events happening between now and the conference, right? Better to just get it done as fast as possible. This weekend in Philly, there's a conference at CHOP. I know one family is going to top up there. There's a conference in Seattle at one of our friendly rare disease groups. And any of our members can go there and show up and give blood. Please sign up before. There's some paperwork to do as always. That's July 29th in Seattle. In Atlanta, September 26th, PWS and USP7 are having a conference. That's a great opportunity to give blood. The Combined Brain Conference in Kansas City, Missouri on September 29th is also obviously collecting. By the way, that's going to be an amazing conference. If you're anywhere near Kansas City, SRF is a proud member of Combined Brain. You should check that out. And before I talk about this next thing, I just want to give a shout out to Zoe. Zoe has helped us with volunteer recruitment, so a lot of you have talked to her. And I was recently talking to her about how important it is to have strong people on recruitment. We have Rainey on recruitment, and I said we need more people. This is more than a one-person job. And Zoe said, I really want to help with that. I get it, and I think it's important. Let me tell you about recruitment, guys. When people let us know about studies, we have to call patients who qualify for those studies or research studies or clinical trials and say, hey, do you want to take part in this? We think this could help your kid. Do you have any questions? If you want to sign up, this is where you go. That's actually a ton of work. That's a ton of work. That requires us remembering who's who, being able to call, find you, have your phone number, have your address, and being able to answer all the questions, the very good questions people ask about these studies. For instance, right now there's an opportunity to take part in a research study on something, but the qualification is that people have LGS, Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. LGS is a very handy diagnosis, guys. So we have SYNGAP1, that is the cause of all our problems. But if you have a certain kind of seizure, you can qualify for an LGS diagnosis. Think of it as a flavor of epilepsy, right? And if your doctor gives you an LGS diagnosis, you get access to certain drugs like Epidiolex, but you also get access to certain trials. And there's people who want to study SYNGAP1, but have a study that qualifies for LGS. So they call us and they say, hey, do you have any LGS patients? And right now we're recruiting LGS patients to take part in this other thing. So if you have LGS, Make sure we know that, right? Send me an email, send Lauren an email, send us both an email. Mike at CureSyngap1, Lauren at CureSyngap1, Zoe at CureSyngap1.org, and say, hey, I've got LGS, tell me about these studies. This is super important. So thank you, Zoe, for all your work on volunteer and now recruitment. And you, Syngapians, if you have an LGS diagnosis, make sure you let us know. For example, see how this all flows together? I want to give it shout out to a company called Harmony Biosciences who bought Epigenics. Who's Epigenics? Epigenics is a company I've been following, not closely, because this acquisition happened a few months ago, and I stumbled across this press release, and I said, Mike, you got to work harder. So let me tell you about Epigenics. Epigenics came out of the Baraban Lab. The Baraban Lab is at UCF. Scott Baraban is like the guru of zebrafish. He also does surgeries on sea lions or seals, but that's a whole separate conversation. Anyway, Scott Baraban is like really good at zebrafish, and he's really big on Dravet. And using his zebrafish, he identified a molecule, through a drug screen, that could help Dravet patients. Started a company, Epigenics, focused on Dravet and LGS, see previous. And I've been bugging Scott for years. I've been like, Professor Baraban, please work on SYNGAP. He's like, Mike, be patient. So he starts his company, LGS and Dravet. No SYNGAP. But LGS is a catch-all, right? So if you have LGS, you could get access to this drug. What's the status of this drug? Well, Harmony Biosciences has bought it. Read the press release. And this drug works on 5-HT2B and C receptors. So 5-HT is serotonin, but it has subtypes. It has subtype A, or receptors, A, B, and C. The drug from Harmony Biosciences works on A and B. Okay, why does this matter? Why do we care, Mike? Well, there's another drug that works on C, which I'll talk about in a second. But the drug from Harmony works on the receptors A and B of 5-HT. And if you have LG, and they're going to be doing a clinical trial later this year. So if you have LGS, you qualify for this trial, put it on your radar. Now, what's this drug that works on, and congratulations to Professor Baraban and Epigenics for being acquired by Harmony, and Harmony has a lot of money. They do Pilostat and other drugs, Pitolostat, whatever. They have another drug that's effective, and they work in a lot of diseases, and it's a really strong company. Anyway, A and B, Harmony Biosciences. If you have LGS, you qualify. If you just have SYNGAP, you don't qualify. But there's another company, Longboard Pharmaceuticals, by the way, who is sponsoring our conference. Thank you, Longboard. And they have a drug that works on the C receptor. Okay, so obviously this 5-HT, this serotonin, very effective for seizure control. A and B, Harmony Biosciences. C, Longboard. And Longboard is also planning on launching a phase 3 trial this year. And they are not picking Dravet and LGS. Thank you, Longboard, because everyone picks Dravet and LGS, two big populations. They are doing a basket trial for neurodevelopmental diseases. A basket trial for neurodevelopmental diseases, including SYNGAP1. So if you just have a SYNGAP1 diagnosis, you will qualify for this trial, phase 3. End of the year. And when they call us and say, hey, we don't want to do this trial, you know what we're going to say? We're going to tell all of you about it and encourage you to sign up, because we don't have to say, do you have LGS or not? So again, recruiting, super important. What SRF works on tirelessly is being ready to recruit, so that when companies like Longboard and Harmony and all of our other sponsors of their precision therapies call us and say, we're looking for these kinds of patients, help us find them, we can do it, and we can do it quickly. Why? Because we want to help companies? Yeah, we want companies who want to help kids to succeed. But really, we want to connect patients with SYNGAP1 to drugs that can make their lives better. That's the point, guys. That's the point. And that's why SRF works as tirelessly as we do. And we need your help to do that. We need your help raising money, and we need your help on social. If you are human, you are probably on social media. Make sure you are following SRF on every single channel. It's super easy. Our handle is @CureSyngap1 everywhere. We have 1,060 followers on YouTube, 3,700 on LinkedIn, 11,000 on Twitter, aka X, 48,000 on Insta, 417 on TikTok. Guys, social media is powerful and important. Make sure you follow us, and when you see our content cross your screen, take a second to hit like, whatever, retweet, thumbs up, whatever the things are. Just click the things, retweet, share it, be like, this affects my loved one. Please support this organization. All of that amplification of our message means that the next person who got it tomorrow or next week, someone's going to get a diagnosis. Some genetic counselor is going to call some parent. We know what's wrong with your child. They have syngap1. That parent's going to freak out. They're going to Google. The stronger we are on social, the stronger we are online, the more likely they're going to find us. People used to take weeks to find us, then they took days. Literally, I've talked to some families, it took hours. Diagnosed in the morning, on the phone with us in the evening. That is the power of this work. That is why I'm so OCD about social. Please help us grow SRF's presence, amplify our content, watch this on YouTube, put comments on the video, help us reach every family with SYNGAP1, because there's the families of SYNGAP1 we know about, and then there's the families of SYNGAP1 we don't know about, and those eat me alive. I want to know those families. I want to bring them into our community. I want to make sure we can help their kids. And then there's the families who don't know they have SYNGAP1 yet, but they're going to find out, and we've got to find them quickly too. Thanks. One more thing on social. If you have videos of your kids seizing and you're comfortable, you have to be comfortable putting your kid online. Some of us are, some of us aren't. It's fine. Share that video and use the hashtag, so the # SYNGAP seizure, one word, and share that. Why? I have researchers call me every now and then. They're like, what does a SYNGAP seizure look like? And there's all kinds of cool scientific questions behind their question. But the truth is, some of the most brilliant people working on our disease don't know a syngapian, haven't seen a seizure. And they're like, could you collect videos and under IRB have people consent and send me? I don't have time for that. But I'll tell you what I can do. I'm going to tell you guys as families, #SYNGAP seizure. If you're comfortable, put it online. And then when literally the last time a researcher called me and said, I said, look, type this hashtag into Google. 5 videos come up. Watch them. And he said, oh yeah, that answers my question. Thank you. So social media is not just a way to find families, but it's a powerful tool for sharing and connecting with researchers and clinicians who are taking care of our kids. That's it for today, guys. If you're newly diagnosed, syngap.fund/resources. Please like and subscribe to this podcast wherever you are watching it. This has been episode 146 of Syngap 10. It's been a pretty long one, but hopefully worth your time. Thanks for listening. I'm off to Adams Camp. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.